This is Syria today. This is Syria today, according to the Syrian presidency Instagram account. The First Lady, Asma al-Assad, is a constant presence in these pictures. Always elegant and smiling, she shows her support of her husband. As the saying goes, behind every great man, there's a great woman. In fact, her face has become the brand of the Syrian regime's propaganda machine well before the start of the conflict in Syria. Two months after Syrian leader Hafez al-Assad died in 2000, he was succeeded by his second son, Bashar al-Assad, on 17th of July 2000. The new Syrian president seemed to project a different image from the brutal leadership of his father. Only 35 years old when he acceded to power, formerly educated in England as an eye surgeon, he presented himself as a reformer and modernizer. Soon after becoming president in December 2000, he married Asma Akras. Born and raised in London from Syrian parents, Asma graduated from King's College and was about to pursue an MBA at Harvard University when she met Bashar al-Assad. Theirs became a perfect match to bolster the image of the Syrian presidency. Smart, educated and chic, she built immediately the image of a First Lady dedicated to her country and its people. She publicly promoted her charity work for children in need and rural communities and supported the empowerment of women. Internationally, her PR work was focusing on changing the Western perception of the Syrian regime. As such, she participated to international conferences, speaking of the cultural and religious tolerance of the Syrian state and its path toward intellectual and economic progress.
Narrow-minded ideologies. And so education here is crucial to ensure that we teach our younger generation the spirit of openness and engagement that have historically defined who we are as a people, as a society.
Her PR campaign was successful, considering that in March 2011, Vogue published an article calling her as the Rose of the Desert and praising the Syrian state as safe, modern and progressive thanks to its new leaders. Quite ironic if you consider that in those days, the Arab Spring just started in Syria, with thousands protesting against what they perceived as an oppressive and brutal government. In fact, soon after it was published, Vogue removed the article from its website. Within a few months, what started as peaceful protests spiraled into a bloody civil war. Many started to wonder who Bashar al-Assad's wife really was.
London-based Guardian newspaper says it has obtained more than 3,000 documents believed to be emails sent and received by Bashar al-Assad and his wife Asma.
You do get a sense from a lot of the emails of a kind of life in a gilded cocoon, extraordinarily insulated from some of the horrors going on in the rest.
Former allies in the West and Middle East began to turn their backs on her, until in 2012, the EU added Asma al-Assad in the sanctions list against Syria, increasingly isolating her. After taking a break from the public eye for the first 3 years of the conflict, Asma returned to be the protagonist of Bashar al-Assad's propaganda machine. Her stance is clear. She stands by her husband, and she always will. Her image remained consistent with the Asma al-Assad before the war. As the war ravages the country, photos and videos on the Syrian presidency official social media account portrayed her mainly as a charitable woman who cares for all Syrian children and stands behind the victims' mothers, a mother of 3 children and a lovely wife, leading a normal family life. A leader who supports and promotes her country's soldiers and the end of the senseless violence of the conflict. The pictures want to downplay the violence of the war and show a surreal image of Syria, as if everything was fine and going on as normal. But not only, they also cast a heroical light on the Syrian army, who are represented as the saviors of the nation's people against the enemy, seen merely as terrorists. Essentially, the couple's image construction remains unchanged by the conflict. They want to be portrayed as a symbol of tolerance and modernity, still dedicated to charitable work and to the progress of the country. To criticism and accusations from the media, Asma responds by repeating her husband's mantra, Western media is misrepresenting the regime by unjustly portraying her and Bashar as tyrants and neglecting the sufferance of Syrians supporting the Assads in a war against terrorism. This time, she is not interviewed by Vogue, but by Channel 24, a Russian broadcast.
Is beyond comprehension. Western media organizations have chosen to solely focus on the plight of refugees and those caught up in rebel-held areas, whereas in fact the vast majority of people displaced are living across the rest of the country.
Although the target audience has changed, as in the past also in the present, Asma al-Assad serves as a brand of a regime that wants to portray a positive image of itself, hiding its authoritarianism and violence. Even the discovery in August 2018 of Asma al-Assad having breast cancer seemed to serve as a metaphor for her representation of the country. Notwithstanding difficulties, she still keeps on appearing publicly with a smile on her face.